You know, when I turned 6, my mother told me something changed in me. She said I was still playful, but my eyes had started asking questions. She told me I had started observing her more carefully. I would sit silently and just watch her, like I was trying to understand the world through her. She said I began noticing things I never noticed before, like when she was tired, even though she tried to hide it behind a smile. One day, she said I brought her a glass of water without being asked. She looked at me and realized her little girl was growing. She used to laugh about the day I tried drawing our little house. She said I was so serious, like an important artist. She used to laugh about the day I tried drawing our little house. She said I was so serious, like an important artist. But when I finished, it looked nothing like a house. The roof was falling, the windows were floating. She said I almost tore the paper in anger. I thought I had failed completely. But she stopped me gently and said, perfection doesn't come first, effort does. She told me I tried again. And that second drawing, it still wasn't perfect, but I smiled this time. That summer, I planted tiny seeds in the garden. She said I kept checking them every hour, believing flowers would bloom overnight. My mother said I would wake up early, run outside barefoot, and check if the flowers had grown overnight. When nothing appeared, I would look confused. I couldn't understand why good things took so long. She sat next to me and said, beautiful things grow quietly and slowly. She told me that was the first lesson I learned about patience, even though I didn't realize it then. One afternoon, I decided I wanted to help her cook. She said within 5 minutes, the entire kitchen looked like a snowstorm. I stood there terrified. I thought she would be angry, but she didn't shout. She just smiled and handed me a cloth. She said, if you make a mess, you also learn to fix it. That day, she told me I learned responsibility without even knowing it. My mother often tells the story of the tiny bird I found one afternoon. She said I picked it up so carefully, like I was holding something sacred. I begged her to let me keep it forever so it would stay safe, but she told me something that hurt a little. She said, sometimes loving something means letting it go. She said I cried quietly, but I still listened. At school, I wasn't the loudest child. She told me I used to stand quietly, waiting to be invited. One day, someone held my hand first. My mother says that was the day I learned friendship begins with courage. She said my hands were trembling like leaves. I wanted to run away before my name was called, but she nodded at me from the audience. She told me I spoke so softly at first, but then my voice grew stronger. When I finished, she stood up and clapped loudest. She said that was the day I discovered courage. Not every day was brave or perfect, though. One afternoon, I failed a small test. She said I didn't speak the whole way home. I thought she would be disappointed, but she said failure is not the end. She told me that was when I learned resilience. My mother said I started helping her and she'd fix my crooked folds quietly. On rainy evenings, she said I started thinking deeply about small things. At night, she told me gentle stories, even stories about me. She would describe my kindness like it was something special. I had stubborn moments, but she always encouraged me to say sorry. She told me kindness is always stronger than pride. We didn't have much, but we had laughter at small jokes. She misses that laugh sometimes. Once she saw me help a child who fell and felt proud quietly. She told me I had a very soft heart. At 7, I still ran free, not knowing how fast time moves. Today, her stories remind me of details I had forgotten. She remembers my smallest victories and even my failures. She says she is proud of that little girl, and I miss her too. That girl lives inside me, and her lessons built who I am. Subscribe for more stories from my childhood journey.